be exactly what you want to be without all of the fear around you. We have to stand up together.
Welcome to another episode of the Chairman Project with me, your humble host, Jason Sisneros. And this week we're going to talk about who we are historically. This episode is going to be based on having conversations about the merchant class, going back in history and bringing us up sort of to speed. And here's the reason why. As we get ready to roll out the Built to Exit brand, which is simply just an extension of my life's work in turnarounds, in in the private equity world, buying my own companies, selling them, and then going on into a career building a company around helping businesses succeed. The evolution of this show and this conversation and these conversations that we have every single weekend live. Right now we're live on Twitter, 9 a.m. to 10:30 a.m. every single week on Twitter. And the community that's coming together, the people that are reaching out after watching the show, even from a year ago, the interest is high. And the interest is high because our community is finding each other. We're finding each other. And when we talk about our community, I'm speaking specifically about SMEs, small to mid-size enterprises, which is it. The measurement is 0 employees all the way up to 499. We comprise about 50% of the GDP worldwide. I expanded this last couple of weeks my search and my research because of the book that I'm finishing up. It's already done, but I'm adding some context to it to further sort of inform the information, the book with some additional information. So I've expanded worldwide because we've got so many viewers, so many people reaching out to Built to Exit and to Anton J, my consulting firm, from around the world, outside of the US. And so we expanded that. And it's interesting to know that here in the United States, we do about 60% of the GDP. Worldwide, it's over 50%. The hiring, the local communities, the tax bases, all of that kind of stuff. It comes from this community. And what I wanted to talk about this week was to give us a historical. Entrepreneurship and owning your own business can tend to be a lonely track because we forget that we are a part of a community. We're part of not just a community in current days, but also historically. A lot of the great leaders in life, and we're going to talk about some of them, a lot of the great leaders throughout history began their journey as a merchant. And we talk about that a lot here. We talk about your end game ends up setting you free. And it's in that evolution from just plain ass survival to being able to get your time back from the business, from the machine that you've built called a business, and then elevating above that to being able to leave it and maybe go start another one, be able to elevate above that to be able to become and have an impact on the world, and then to become a leader for whatever God put us on the planet to be able to do. And it's interesting to me as I've been doing this research that the evolution really cannot happen and hasn't happened for anybody unless they've built some sort of version of an economic freedom for themselves, whatever level that means, right? Economic freedom can be I'm making no money, but I figured out how to survive, all the way up to I made a bunch of money and now nobody can silence me or have any influence over me. And so looking at it historically, I just wanted to go back and look through some times, right? So, and the merchant. And remember, keep in mind as you're listening to me, think of some of the things that may be holding you back, some of the beliefs about who you are, the size of your business, the amount of time that you have to put in it. Those are two things that I think rob us of the vision of our future, right? The name of the book, The End Game, Your Business End Game. And it robs us of that vision because we're too busy in the day-to-day. And so as I'm going through this, just remember you're part of one of the, if not the most important class group of human beings throughout history. Yes, we're a minority in terms of the amount of people. 33 million people here in the United States. That's about 10% of the entire citizenry and community. But we're important, right? 60% of the GDP, about 60% of the hiring. That is important. And yet we seem so dispersed, right? We feel alone. We don't realize the power that we have over the influence in politics. We don't realize the power that we should have over the culture of our country, over financing and resourcing things that we care about, and or financing and resourcing ourselves to become the best version of us before we move on in this life. I've got one simple theme, and I want everybody to write this down. We just trademarked this last week for the book. But I want you to start thinking about a concept when it comes to your business, okay? And it's this simple concept. Everybody exits. We talk a lot about business here. We talk a lot about the end game, et cetera, and I think that one of the most important things is you got to realize everybody exits. How matters. How matters. So everybody exits. Think about that just for a second, and it has so many connotations. Everybody exits. How matters. I've exited businesses in the past, not of my own choosing, right? That's called failure. That's 95% of companies go out of business. That is a form of exit, right? 95%. And so the exit of your business should be primary amongst your thought processes so that you can set up and build your own purposeful, consciously structured exit of your business. Don't let the world tell you that your business is going out of business. Don't let the world, you have the power. If you get the right systems in place, you know your elevation. We're going to talk a little bit about that at the end. But knowing where you are historically, knowing what you want for your life, knowing that you're going to exit one way or the other, right? I've had people that we've had to go in and help their company because the owner passed away at their desk and the family didn't know what to do. Right? So they called us in to help solidify that income, right? We've have people that exit all the time because they fail. We have some people, the minority of people that are in business exit purposefully. And if you go to last week's podcast that we did, I talked about the most sophisticated buyers of businesses. And I talked about the fact that there is worldwide $10 billion that is floating around that is financing SMEs, businesses just like yours. And who that is floating around with is a group of people called private equity firms, right? And they are the most sophisticated buyers on the planet. They have a double, sometimes triple return of people that are investing in the stock market. That's because a properly run, well-executed, small to mid-sized company is far more profitable and predictable than anything that you see on the stock market. And more accurate and more timely and more valuable to the local community, right? So that they're having a great run at what they do. And here's the other kicker is that there is $3 trillion. Sorry, I may have said billion earlier. There's 10 trillion that is monetized out there. There's $3.2 trillion available worldwide sitting in a bank account. Think about your savings account. It's the equivalent of that. $3.2 trillion that is sitting in a bank account waiting to acquire well-run businesses, profitable businesses, right? Here in America, we have $1.5 trillion sitting in bank accounts, ready, waiting, and able to purchase your business, to help your exit on purpose. And yet we don't build it that way. We don't know who we are historically. We don't know who we are. And we don't realize that we belong to this massive group of people that are doing exactly what we're doing, and we don't communicate with each other. This podcast and this group of people live on Twitter every single Saturday is the antidote to that. Everybody's getting to know each other. Everybody is doing business with each other. I hear the stories all the time. The community is growing. The word is getting out that this is not a lonely journey. And it's not a lonely journey, and you're not by yourself, right? You're not by yourself. So we're going to get into a little bit of that conversation today to realize you could build. And let me put an emphasis on it like this. Your bit, it doesn't matter who's listening to me. I'm speaking directly to you, the one. Anybody that has a business that's making them money right now can be, through a proper system, built to be something that somebody else wants to acquire. Now you have the option. Do you want to keep it for the cash flow, or do you want to sell it? Right? Your exit. Everybody exits how matters. Write that down. We trademarked it. That's going to be in the title of the book because it's true. And we have to deal with truth. We have to deal with reality. That's what this group hyper focuses on, is making sure that we're operating from a transparency, from a clarity of thought, from truth, because we know that we cannot operate like the rest of the world. We are 10% of the world that makes all the difference, and we can't operate in a bubble of fantasy. We don't and cannot operate as victims in this world. We have to deal with the truth. Okay, so let me throw a little bit on you. Let's just dive back in history. Okay, and remember, you're part of an incredible history of the merchant class, going back to the beginnings of time, right? From the earliest civilizations, merchants were the lifeblood of trade, connecting distant lands through the Silk Road, the Mediterranean trade routes, and beyond. They were not just traders, but also cultural ambassadors, spreading ideas, technologies, and philosophies. That's who you are, right? That is who you are. Are you a business owner that's looking to build your company into a machine that creates cash? I'm Jason Sisneros, chairman and founder of Anton J Global, a world-class business consulting company that has turned around, merged, or prepped for sale hundreds of companies just like yours. I'm best known as the architect when it comes to fixing and building companies across the globe. My experience comes from owning and exiting over 20 of my own companies successfully. It's that real-world experience that I've converted into the ultimate blueprint that has saved and grown my clients' businesses. If you're tired of getting bad advice, have bought all the books, all the coaching programs, and still aren't seeing the success that you were promised, it might be time to work with a team that has actual experience and a track record of success. Please scan the QR code or visit antonj.com to schedule your free 15-minute consultation to see if we can help you reach your outcomes. That's antonj.com, ANTONJAE.com. The merchant class gained significant power, leading to the rise of city-states like Venice, Florence. Anybody who's been to Italy and been to either one of those cities, Florence especially, where wealth and trade fueled the Renaissance, a period of enlightenment and artistic flourishing. Now let's pause for just a second, think about your own life. When you get out of the survival mode in your own business, when you get beyond that period of time, when you're just hustling enough to be able to pay your bills, to be able to pay your payroll, to be able to keep your business alive, when you get past that, there's a breath that you can take. And it opens up opportunity for you to begin to expand as a human being, your own enlightenment, your own ability to be able to impact your local community, your own ability to be able to expand the possibilities and choices for your own family. It's happened throughout history. The Industrial Revolution to modern times, with the advent of industrialization, merchants evolved into entrepreneurs, driving innovation and economic growth. Today, they are the backbone of the SME community, fostering local economies and global markets alike. Our contributions, economic growth. The modern merchant class are responsible for the majority of job creation, innovation, and economic resilience. They adapt quickly, often leading in niche markets or pioneering new industries. Our battle, right? Our battle is against a corrupt government and unethical capitalist companies, right? That is our battle. And that's why I say a lot here, stop doing business with Amazon, start doing business with each other. Even if you don't have, you can only buy less, you have to wait a couple more days to get it. We are killing our middle class, right? We are doing damage to our own ability to be able to provide for our families. We're doing damage. And there is a historical precedence, right? A historical precedence, because right now the SMEs, we support local communities by keeping wealth local, sponsoring local events. And we act as the first line of employment for the majority of our country, right? So let's talk a little bit about the danger of us being oppressed, okay? Us being oppressed by corrupt governments that do dirty backroom deals. They help the business owners that are out there by getting insider trading so that they can get wealthy. Right? I just want to remind you again. Yes, I understand we're here to talk about business, but you got to see yourself from the view of a wider context of how important you are, and knowing and being informed about the information that is necessary for us to keep our middle class and our small and mid-sized companies alive. What happens if we don't survive? If we end up having a government that starts to take everything that we have, that takes our production, that puts rules in place and regulations, and they take our tax money and they raise our taxes and they take the majority of the fruits of our effort, it starts to drain local communities. It starts to drain our ability to be free ourselves. It does a lot of damage. The Roman Republic, right? There's a meme going around, how often do you think about the fall of the Roman Empire? It's quite a bit. Well, let me give you an exact example, right? The Roman Republic to the empire, the transition saw the decline of the merchant class influence, leading to economic stagnation as power centralized. They had to take from producers to keep making promises to the citizenry at large, and instead of them earning it, our citizenry earning it through honorable labor and building, going to work and doing that kind of stuff, they wanted shit for free, right? This is historical. And what happens is eventually, I think as Margaret Thatcher said, eventually you run out of other people's money. We've seen it recently in Venezuela. Right? So during the medieval Europe, periods where merchant guilds were suppressed led to economic downturns, as you see in various city-states where rulers imposed heavy taxes or allowed monopolies. Okay? Sound familiar? I mean, we're still at a place where we can fix this, but we have to come together quickly as a group of human beings to stave that off. Because everything gets worse when you steal from the small and mid-sized companies. Okay? So let's see here. Okay, 20th century and regimes, again, this is regimes around the world, right? Regimes where private enterprise were nationalized or heavily regulated, Soviet Russia, Venezuela, innovation and consumer choice suffers, leading to economic inefficiency. And that is a nice way to say that you have economic collapse. Venezuela used to be the third largest country, the third largest economy in the world, and it quickly fell it started in 1999, right? There was a lot of messaging that you can hear that is echoing what we hear today. And there was a lot of stuff going on, and then it quickly fell to where it is right now. The money's worthless. There's crime is high. People are starving to death. There's stories of people having to break into their zoos to kill animals to feed their family. They're leaving the country by hordes and overwhelming countries around them. right? They've filtered their way, those gangs have filtered their way into America. They're taking over buildings in Denver, Colorado. Taking over buildings. Armed Venezuelan gangs taking over buildings and enforcing their will on American citizens, right? It doesn't just, we think it's just, oh, poor Venezuela. It affects and impacts everybody from there. It impacts their neighbors. It impacts everybody that takes desperate human beings that don't have to be desperate. If we, the business class, realize how important we are, we gather together and we never, ever, ever allow people to come in and tell us how to do our business. Extremely important for us to know that. And I wanted to talk about that historical realm and give you, that context because it's important for you to know who you are and to who you are historically. Right, so I picked out three different examples throughout history of people just like you. And I want to pause because I want to make sure that you're hearing this not as a history lesson or some rant by Jason Sisneros. I want you to hear this from the perspective of how important you are. And to know that you have something, each and every person that's listening to me, the one-on-one conversation that I'm having with just you, I know that you have something powerful that you want to achieve in the world. I know that you have something that God put on your heart that only you can do, that only you can bring to the world. I'm here as a guide and a defender and all of the words that you could possibly come up with to give you those tools. And sometimes that tool is a kick in the ass for you to realize you can be doing more. So there's a story of, let's go back. I mentioned 3 times in history, but let's go back to 950 BC. There was a guy by the name of Hiram, king of Tyre. You can go back and watch it, right? He's got a title of king, but guess what he was? He was a merchant first. And he's mentioned, he's so powerful, had such an impact that he's mentioned in the Bible around the time of Solomon. He maintained friendly relations with Israel, supplying Solomon and men with materials for the construction of the temple at Jerusalem, cooperating with him in the Mediterranean and the Red Sea trading voyages. Solomon gave him tribute and the Galilean territory in return. You want to read about the exploits, most of the strength of Hiram of Tyre are based in the same thing that you do every single day. The same thing. You are an entrepreneur. You are a merchant. So Tyre became independent when Egyptian influence over Phoenicia declined. It later surpassed Sidon as a trade center, developing commercial relations with all parts of the Mediterranean world. In the 9th century BCE, colonists from Tyre founded the North African city of Carthage, which later became Rome's principal rival in the West. The town is frequently mentioned in the Bible as having had close ties with Israel. Hiram, king of Tyre, reigned from 969 to 936, furnished building materials for Solomon's temple in Jerusalem, and the notorious Jezebel, wife of King Ahab. And Tyre enjoyed some primacy. Again, primacy basically means authority, right? He enjoyed some primacy over other cities of Phoenicia and was ruled by kings whose power was limited by merchant power. Merchant power, right? When we know what we have, we can influence our world. When we work together, we can build a better society, right? So that's Hiram from back in the day. Let's look about another name that I know you've heard, and I guarantee you it wasn't in the terms of merchant, being a merchant, Marco Polo. Marco Polo is known as an explorer, but he spent 2 decades in the service of Kublai Khan, one of the greatest leaders and rulers in history, who reigned over Mongolia for 34 years. Hi, my name is Jason Sisneros, founder and chairman of Anton J Global, a world-class business consulting company that has helped hundreds of clients and thousands of growth course students fix, scale, and successfully master their businesses. To put it simply, my team and I help people turn their businesses into machines that create cash. To better support startups and other mid-sized companies, my team and I developed a phenomenal and comprehensive digital growth course where I poured decades of business ownership and know-how into 20 hours of content. This course is not easy. It's not an easy pill, but demands real work from you to implement the blueprints that I've developed. We know that reaching financial freedom is never easy, but totally worth it. Go to growthcourse.com right now to learn more about the course and get started on your business journey today. Polo traveled extensively with his family, journeying and remaining in China for 17 of those years. Blah, 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 blah. Let me get back down here to... Anyway, so the point is that he was a merchant, right? He was a merchant. He had influence over a king and with a king, and then went on journeys and connected and expanded the empire of the ability for him to be able to do business. He was a merchant. One of my favorite stories in America, I'm going to advance it a little bit sooner, right, was the very first millionaire woman. The very first millionaire woman was a woman of color by the name of Madam C.J. Walker, an American entrepreneur, philanthropist, political and social activist. Stop right there just for a second. As I read that in order, American entrepreneur, first, second, a philanthropist, fourth, political and social, or third, political and social activist. Why? Because she resourced herself. She became the first female self-made millionaire in America. That's recorded in the Guinness Book of Records. She made her fortune by developing and marketing a line of cosmetics and hair care products for Black women. Through the business that she founded, Madam C.J. Walker Manufacturing Company, she became known also for her philanthropy and activism. She made financial donations to numerous organizations and became a patron of the arts. Walker's lavish estate in Irvington, New York served as a social gathering place for the African American community. At the time of her death, she was considered the wealthiest African American businesswoman and wealthiest self-made Black woman in history. She was born Sarah Breedlove. Amazing story. I'm just giving you some of these stories so that you can start to go back through history and see the power that exists in the thing that you do. I don't care what product it is. I don't care what service it is. It makes no difference other than the fact that you have fallen in love with the needs of someone else. You have fallen in love with the needs of somebody else, and you are meeting that at a high level, which sets the stage for you to be an influence and a power broker in building a better society. Because the things that we need to do as business owners, the activities, the belief systems, how we treat people, the systems, the processes, all of the things that come together, they are necessarily ethical. They're necessarily ethical. Anytime that you are in this realm and you do unethical things, you get a reputation and people stop doing business with you. So there are skills and tools that you're developing every single day along with your business that make you and are forming you into that ultimate version, that power, that fire, that vision that God gave you, and only you, that you could be able to impact and do things in this world, are being honed by this thing called business. So the takeaways for us today on understanding this: know that you are a member. You are a member of one of the world's most influential classes, called the merchant class. And we have to fight with each other for one thing. We talk about the end game here a lot. We talk about what it is that you want to build your freedom to be. There is no freedom without an economic version of it. There is no freedom without it. Without the freedom to be able to do those things, to be able to build a business, for you to be able to gain economic strength that gives you a defense against wannabe dictators. And in you doing that with a group of 33 million other people here in this country, and almost a little over 50% of the world, that's how we maintain freedom for each other. So number one, understand that unity is strength. As modern day merchants, we are stronger together, and we must rally around shared values of independence, resilience, and innovation. Number two, we've got to do business with each other. Keep that money circulating within our community. Support fellow entrepreneurs, buy local, and create a network of mutual success. Number three, you've got to build your company to exit. Whether you want to or whether you don't want to, it doesn't matter. The strategies are the same. I'm going to go back to my trademarked phrase. Everybody exits. How matters. The world will tell you and put you out of business and not care. They won't blink a day if you have employees. They may be sad for a day, but guess what they've got to do? Go find another job with an entrepreneur who is doing better and can give them the opportunity to feed their families. Everybody exits, you included. Do not avoid this realization for yourself. Everybody exits. How matters. How is in your control. In a world where overreach and uncertainty threaten our businesses, we built it. We got the built to exit system. It provides tools, strategies, and community to remain free, thrive, and strive, and to secure your legacy. There's lots of information that's out there. Here's one thing I want to warn against. We're doing this research for a lot of the marketing and stuff that we're doing for the launch of Built to Exit, which is an extension of the last 20 years of my life. But it was interesting to me as we went back through and I did a bunch of research on how long it takes to prepare a business to be acquired by the most sophisticated buyers in the world. And it takes roughly 15,000 hours. Now, remember, we've talked about the Philippe Patek watch, right? How many hours did it take? 17,000 hours. And it sold, right? They sold for an average of $30 million. It was fascinating for me to watch those connections happen, not intentionally. They just happened to be the same. About 15,000 hours of doing the right things in the proper sequence for your business to be acquired by the most sophisticated buyers on the planet, called private equity firms, that currently have $1.5 trillion here in the United States and $3.2 trillion worldwide, looking for your business when it's been built to exit. They're looking for you. And then you can do that. You can sell it to them. You could be a part of it moving forward. You can sell it to them, go start another thing. You can sell it to them and go do your passion. You can start a charity. You could go sail the seven seas. Whatever it is, building your company to exit should be what everybody is focused on. There's lots of success along the way to doing that. There's you building your business to a place where you can leave because you've got a management team in place. Private equity firms are not going to ever buy a company that doesn't have a qualified, certified management. If you're needed in your business, you're never going to sell to a private equity firm. Okay? Never. You might be acquired and be forced to now work for other people. But at the end of the day, that is one of the core understandings, is that you have to build this thing to be able to exit, and that means that the company can't need you. Okay? Can't need you. It's going to have your relationship to your customers. That's going to be necessary. Do you have a long-term relationship? Do you have a deep relationship? Do you know who they are? Is there a subscription model in place? Is your referral system built out? Lots of different things. 15,000 hours, but we have a group of entrepreneurs these days that want to do it the easy way. I'm not saying that the technology is not meant for us to be able to do things easier and more and faster with our innovation and our mindset. I'm not saying that, but the principles of business will never change. They haven't changed since Hiram of Tyre. And so the first thing you need to understand is you're building to exit. Number two, you need to figure out and adapt and understand that you're never going to be able to escape the things that need to be done. There's principles. I know that our community doesn't have a hard time working hard, but doing the right hard work, it means that you have to discover where the systems are, where the processes are, making sure that your time, effort, and energy is leading somewhere instead of in a circle, or for you to exit by being booted out of your own business by going out of business. Everybody exits. How matters. So those are some things. Last week I went more in depth into the selling of your company and who to sell it to and how to prep it up for. It was a little more dry than normal, right? Less stories, more action. But it's worth you going back and listening to that episode if you want to know who is out there looking to buy your business that has cash available of 1.5 trillion here and 3.2 trillion around the world. We've got relationships with a lot of those people that want to buy your businesses. That's why we know how to build your company to exit. We know what they're looking for. That's why they come to us. Jason, what you got? What you got? Who's ready to go? The price of your asset, number one, you'll probably never sell unless it is structured that way. Number two, if they have to come in and do most of the work, the value that you're going to get for the sale of your business is going to plummet to lower and lower and lower. So we want to optimize that for you because we need our merchant class to be wildly, powerfully resourced at this point in history. That's why we're here. That's why we get together every Saturday. That's why I believe that our community is growing quickly. I love it. I love entrepreneurs. I'm not here for everybody. Not here for everybody. I'm here for business owners who want to make a difference. I'm here for business owners who want to do better. I want to make more money, to get more freedom, to have more time, to be able to do more good in this world because I know our community is based at the highest levels in integrity. So that's that, right? That's the episode. Take action. Growthcourse.com right now. If anybody wants to get the system, it's 28 hours, 15,000 hours to build your business and properly sequence to be able to get to a place where you can sell to the most sophisticated buyers on the face of the planet. It's not an hour of some idiot who says they know how to exit or grow a business. It's not an hour of some system that they're promising you that they're going to take you from $10,000 to $10 billion overnight. It's tried and true. It's people that have done it. There's systems that exist. There's processes that exist. There's people that can help you. Stop thinking that there's a shortcut and get started on your 15,000 hours. That's 3 years. If you do 12 hours a day yourself, that's 3 years. You can speed that up by having a team. You can speed that up by knowing the right steps to take. But it's 15,000 hours of doing the right thing in the right sequence. God bless you on your trip. I'm here. Our team is ready to help. There's lots of other people that you can reach out to in your local community to get you started if you're in that survival mode. But be here every single Saturday. You're going to pick something up that's going to help you week to week. I know that because I get the DMs. I know that because I'm watching people get free. I know that because we're helping consistent people. I know that because there's graduates of the growth course every single week. I love you all very much. We got work to do. We got work to do together. And next time I'm going to be in a live audience is going to be coming up. You can go to the website, jasonsisneros.com, and look at events. I'm going to be in Vancouver, Canada, coming up in the next couple of weeks with a great audience up there. Would love to see you wherever my wife and I travel to. We love to have dinners. We love to see you. Make sure you stay in contact. I love you very much. Go out. Build your company to exit. Everybody exits. How matters. Make sure that you control that how. Peace.